Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. Before that night, I would have said Lauren and I were solid. 3 years together, plans for a house, a wedding next spring. We met at a friend's party. She was confident, funny, and sharp. At first, her confidence was what I liked most about her. Later, it started to feel like something else. She loved attention, and she was good at getting it. I didn't mind in the beginning, but over time, her spending became impossible to ignore. I covered the bills, the trips, the new camera, the endless business expenses. Every time I tried to bring it up, she said I didn't believe in her. Then came Wednesday night, the kind that's too quiet until it isn't. Lauren came home carrying 2 shopping bags and the kind of smile that meant trouble. We were supposed to be saving for a down payment, but when she dropped the receipt on the counter, I saw the number. $1,497 for something called a wellness retreat. Lauren, we talked about this. We're saving, remember? She shrugged and said, I need this for my brand, Ben. You wouldn't understand. Her brand was a lifestyle page that had more quotes than income. I took a slow breath. We can't keep spending like this, I said. Every time I think we're moving forward, something new shows up. First it was the camera. Now this. She rolled her eyes. You always make me feel guilty for wanting better things. Maybe if you had a little more ambition, I wouldn't have to push for them myself. That's not what I'm saying, I told her. I just want us on the same page. She gave a short, humorless laugh and crossed her arms. You know what, Ben? You act like I need you to do any of this. I could replace you in 24 hours. I stared at her, waiting for the smirk, the little joke at the end that would tell me she didn't mean it. But it never came. Really? I said. She leaned on the counter, smiling like she'd won something. Easily. There are men who'd treat me better and actually support what I do. You should be grateful I even chose you. Something in me went still. I said quietly, prove it. Her smile dropped. What? You said 24 hours. Prove it. We're done. Clock starts now. She laughed that sharply. Ben, stop acting dramatic. You wouldn't last a day without me. I didn't answer. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out a duffel, and started packing. When I stepped outside, I texted my friend Daniel, need a couch tonight. I glanced at the time on my phone, 7:18 p.m. The clock had started. The next morning, I was sitting in Daniel's living room thinking about how fast my life had changed in 24 hours. My phone buzzed. It was Grace, Lauren's friend. Can we meet? There's something you should see. I agreed. We met at a cafe downtown. She was nervous, eyes darting toward the door every few minutes. I don't want this to sound like gossip, she said, but you deserve to know what's been happening. She unlocked her phone and slid it across the table. There were screenshots, messages between her and Lauren from months back. Ben's too comfortable. I need a challenge. He's stable, but I can do better. Not marrying potential. His credit's good, though. I'll stay until I find something real. My stomach tightened. Grace flipped through more messages, dating app screenshots, conversations about a guy named Chase she was keeping warm. I leaned back, quiet. How long? Grace sighed. Since spring. I tried to warn you once. Remember when I told you she wasn't being fair to you? She threatened to tell everyone I had feelings for you if I said more. I nodded, taking it in. There was no anger in me, just this cold kind of clarity. Thank you for showing me. I guess I needed proof. Grace looked relieved but sad. I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't want to be the one to tell you. It's fine, I said. It's better now than later. I walked her to her car. That afternoon, I found a small apartment to rent for a month. By evening, Lauren had turned our breakup into a public event. My phone buzzed nonstop from mutual friends sending screenshots of her posts. Single and thriving, one caption read, under a photo of her holding a martini. Another said, when you finally drop dead weight. She moved fast. Within hours, she'd updated her bio to New Beginnings and posted a story from a downtown bar. In one clip, she was surrounded by a group of guys I'd never seen before. The comments were full of heart emojis and "you deserve better" messages. I didn't reply or react. I went for a run, grabbed takeout, and worked on a report for my job. Silence, I was learning, was powerful. She was burning her own image. I didn't need to add fuel. By night, the tone of her posts changed. She shared a selfie in a restaurant with a caption, "Dinner with someone who knows how to treat a woman." A few hours later, she uploaded a blurry picture of a man's hand holding hers, captioned simply, "Upgrade." Grace sent me a text. "You might want to see this. She's trying too hard." By 8 p.m., Lauren started messaging from unknown numbers. First confident, "See? Told you I could replace you." Then pleading, "Can we talk? I didn't mean it like that." 24 hours after I walked out, I brewed coffee, took a photo of the mug next to an open book, and posted it. Caption, "Time's up." 10 minutes later, Lauren called. "Ben, this isn't funny. You're humiliating me." "You said 24 hours, I said calmly. "You made the rules." She started crying, then shouting, "You'll regret this. You think people will side with you? They won't." I ended the call. An hour later, her mother, Rihanna, called. "Ben, fix this. Be an adult." "I did," I said, and hung up. The silence that followed felt final. By Monday, Lauren had switched from heartbreak to revenge. My boss called me that morning to say she'd filed a harassment complaint, accusing me of sending threats and showing up near her work. HR checked everything, found nothing, and closed it within the day. It was a cheap shot, and it told me all I needed to know. She didn't want closure. She wanted control. Lauren wasn't done. That evening, security from my new apartment building buzzed up. "Mr. Blake, there's a woman downstairs insisting she has belongings in your unit." "She can't come up," I said. "She's live streaming," the guard replied. On the screen, Lauren faced her camera. "I'm just trying to get my stuff, but my abusive ex is locking me out." I took a slow breath. "Keep her downstairs. I'll call the police." Within minutes, 2 officers arrived. One of them asked through the intercom, "Sir, does she have property here?" "No, officer. We didn't live together. She's making a scene." They spoke with her briefly, then escorted her out. The live stream was still going. Hundreds of people watched as she yelled, "You'll regret this, Ben," before the door shut. Comments filled the chat. "Sis, go home." Later, Grace texted, "You handled that better than anyone would have." I replied, "No point shouting at someone who wants an audience." That week, I went back to normal routines: work, gym, cooking simple meals. Grace and I started taking short evening walks. We didn't talk about feelings, just life. One night, she said, "You know, some people don't fall apart after drama. They just stop participating in it." I smiled. "Guess that's my new hobby." Lauren, meanwhile, kept posting about toxic men. But behind the noise, she was running out of people willing to listen. The storm was still loud, but it no longer reached my door. A few weeks later, Lauren tried to reinvent herself. She hosted something called a rebirth brunch, inviting her followers to celebrate independence and divine femininity. From the photos I saw online, it looked like 10 women in matching dresses, half of them looking bored. The caption read, "You can't dim a woman's glow just because you lost her." The glow didn't last long. She began seeing a rotation of men, one self-proclaimed millionaire, another life coach, and a gym owner named Trent, who looked like he flexed more than he talked. Each relationship lasted about as long as a grocery trip. The life coach's wife even messaged me privately, "Appreciate you not taking her back. You dodged a bullet." Then came her biggest mistake. She posted a behind-the-scenes video from her brand meeting during office hours. What most people didn't know was that she still had a corporate marketing job she pretended she'd already quit. Her boss saw the clip, champagne on the table, hashtags about freedom from the corporate grind. 2 days later, she was fired. Lauren's next move was pure chaos. She created a long document accusing Grace of sabotaging her career and sent it to every mutual friend. The claims were wild. Apparently, Grace had hacked her accounts and stolen her ideas. Grace showed me the file over dinner. "Look at this," she said, laughing softly. She even forged timestamps. I opened one of the images. The metadata said it was taken 2 years ago. She must have pulled it from an old folder to fake the date. "She's self-destructing," I said. "Yeah," Grace replied, "and recording the whole thing." The document spread fast, not because people believed it, but because it was so obviously fake. Screenshots showed mismatched fonts, wrong usernames, and one photo where she'd pasted Grace's face over someone else's. Most of their old friends quietly distanced themselves. Meanwhile, my apparently boring life felt like luxury. After months of pretending to hold things together, I finally felt like I was starting to build something real again. Lauren, on the other hand, was still chasing applause from an audience that had already left the theater. 6 months passed. By then, Lauren's posts had slowed down. She'd gone from daily updates to occasional stories about healing and trusting the process. Then, one morning, she came back with a bang, a shiny ring on her hand, and a caption, "Engaged to a surgeon who knows my worth." People congratulated her, of course. The internet always does. But something about it didn't add up. Grace texted me later that day, "You might want to see this." Attached was a message from Lauren's sister, Emily. Emily wrote, "That surgeon is a first-year med student named Edward. He rents a basement from a retired couple. She's already telling him you stole her grandmother's heirloom ring. There's no heirloom, by the way." I didn't respond. I'd learned that some things didn't deserve a reaction. 2 weeks later, the engagement imploded. Edward's friend apparently told him about Lauren's social media history, and Emily confirmed her sister's stories didn't line up. The ring disappeared from Instagram. So did every trace of him. Grace and I were still quiet about us. No announcements, no couple photos. We cooked together, went to markets on weekends, and learned how to be happy without broadcasting it. One night while we were eating takeout on the couch, I pulled a small box from my pocket. She blinked. "You're serious?" "Always," I said. The ring wasn't huge, just simple and solid, like everything we'd built. She nodded once, smiling. Then yes. No fireworks, no audience, just us. That night, I thought about Lauren, how much of her energy had gone into pretending, how every lie had folded back on itself. She had wanted proof she could replace me. She got it, just not the kind she imagined. Grace and I didn't need to post our story anywhere. The quiet said enough. 2 years to the day since that argument, I was drinking coffee on the balcony when my phone lit up with an unknown number. I opened it. "Lauren, I'm engaged now. To someone who actually appreciates me. You lost." No greeting, no punctuation. Just the same tone she always used when she thought she'd won something. There was a picture attached, a rented venue, a crowd of maybe 20 people, and a man I didn't recognize in an off-the-rack suit. I put the phone down, finished my coffee, and deleted the message. Grace came out. "Bad news?" I smiled. "No, just old noise." That afternoon, my phone rang again. Rihanna. I hadn't heard her voice since the night she told me to be the adult. "Ben," she started, voice sharp and tired. "Lauren says you and that woman are engaged. Is it true?" "Yes," I said. "Well," she sighed, "maybe we could do a joint ceremony. Would save money. Be a nice gesture after all that's happened." I laughed before I could stop myself. "Rihanna, your daughter said she could replace me in 24 hours. It's been years." There was a long pause. Then she muttered, "Some people never forgive." "Some people never learn," I replied, and ended the call. That night, Grace and I sat on the floor with wedding brochures spread around us. We chose a small venue by the lake under a big oak tree. No audience, no posts, no drama, just people who mattered. Before bed, I cleaned out my phone, deleted old emails, and removed Lauren's name from the last emergency contact form I'd forgotten about. It felt like closing a file. The story had started with a dare and a clock. She said she could replace me in 24 hours. It took her 2 years to realize she never could. And me? I didn't need to replace anyone. I just needed to stop accepting less than peace. The clock stopped that night, and it stayed silent ever since. Thank you for watching.